Hey guys, welcome tonight to the Carving Podcast. This is episode 2. My name is Blake Lunsford of Lunsford Carving. I'm here with my co-host Tom Bate of Daily Woodcarving. Hey Tom, how are you doing tonight?
Great, Blake. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Tonight we've got on a special guest with us, Mr. Doug Linker. Most of you know Doug from YouTube videos. He's active in the carving world. He does a lot of the carving videos. And we're happy to have Doug on tonight. Doug, how are you doing tonight?
Very good, Blake.
Good. Hey, I want to go ahead and kick off this interview with I think the main question that I want to know about, and a lot of people may want to know about it. I think you got your start in YouTube in the bushcraft world. What got you interested in wood carving?
Well, hot right off the gate. All right. Well, like you said, like you mentioned, the bushcraft community. I had found most of the still we use a lot of knife skills and stuff in bushcraft, but really focus a lot on kuksa cups and wooden spoons and stuff like that, and pot hangers and whatnot. And I was just thumbing through YouTube one day, and of course came across my new hero Gene Messer, and yeah, I watched one video of his carving a little man, and I was hooked. It was something so different and so fun, like not even practical, just fun, and like not a necessary thing to build, just something that made you happy. And it was just became such a great time suck. But when you were done, it just was so great to have something in your hand that made you smile. So that's my wood carving path, really. Just goofy.
Yeah,
goofy over practical. Yeah.
The cool thing about Gene's videos are, though, is that he makes it like anybody can do it. So you watch one video and you watch the way he describes it and what he talks about. It seems like, yeah, I can do that. Anybody can do that. Let's give it a try. So he really knows how to pull people in, and I think he's got a lot of people started.
Yeah, well, I've told this story before, but that first man I ever did, I did it with about a 4-inch Scandinavian bushcraft knife. So yeah, and when I was done, you hear this from everybody, but when I was done, I thought, wow, I'm a wood carver. And to look back on that now, it'd be like the worst thing ever. But yeah, it was just such a satisfying intro that you're hooked immediately.
So do you still have that first carving somewhere?
One of my kids has it somewhere, but I don't really want to see it again anyway. But I've got a few similar that are just as horrific.
So keeping on that, the topic of the beginning with Gene Messer, how long after you were, introduced by Gene, did you carve your first or do your first carving video? Do you remember how long that took?
It was pretty quick, probably within 3 or 4 months. Yeah. And that if you ever went way back in the channel, I called the video, I think it was Sycamore Sam or something. And so that was really how I still had one hand in the bushcraft, because it took a sycamore branch and carved a little man. Well, I have him. Well, I know this is an audio podcast, but I still have the Sycamore Sam. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see him. He spent 5 years outside on my fence, but that was Sycamore Sam. So that was 3 or 4 months after I started carving. And
the patina on that's amazing. It shows.
It is. I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can really see the Gene Messer influence in that carving too, if you just look.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's a great teaser to get people over to YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
So talking about YouTube a little bit, Doug, what's your favorite carving video that you've made on YouTube? And then to second that, what's the strangest request that you've gotten on YouTube for a carving?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll start with the latter. I get requests daily, but and the truth of the matter is, because somebody requests it, you think that, oh, this will be a good video, but that's only one person out of thousands. So, and every one of those people has an idea of what they would like. And I have no interest in most of the different fantasy carvings, whatever, but I had one time that someone asked me to do a unicorn with a monkey riding on the back of a unicorn. And I always like that story. It's such a ridiculous request that.
So are you going to carve that out of one piece of wood or two?
Yeah, I will never carve a unicorn. You can bet that. So that was the strangest. And then what was the first question there, Blake?
The favorite carving video that you've made. So what's the one that when you look back on all the videos you've done so far on wood carving, you know, what's the one that sticks out that says that's the one that I like, that's the one that people need to go out and check out?
Well, okay, well, I'll give you, see, when I make a tutorial, I have a hard time watching them myself because they're just strictly tutorial based. The
Right.
videos that I like the most are the ones that have a story behind them. And I've got a few different ones. In fact, I'm actually working on one right now, but one of my all-time favorites it's called the supply run. And that's the one where I carve a little leaf boat, and I carve a little gnome, and my wife sews little burlap sacks of coffee and flour and that, and throw some acorns in. And then after, so you don't get to see a lot of the carving, but then after I actually put him in the creek, and then I follow him down. The supplier in the story is that he's bringing supplies back to the clan. So all the way along the creek bed, I have set up little carvings that I've made over the years, and he passes them and stuff along the way. And anyway, it's a big happy reunion when he makes it there. And it was filmed in the winter, so there's a bit of ice and snow and stuff. And yeah, that's probably my favorite video.
Is that the one where you lost the boat in the river or something? You had to go back for it the next day?
Yes, that's the okay. And the boat that I lost was would have been my other favorite before I made this one, and that was me in a canoe. Right. And I lost him because he was just sitting on the bank saying hi as the guy went by, and I forgot about him and kept following him down the creek. So yeah, so those are my favorites. Now, they're by far not the most popular ones. Like I said, the tutorials are what really people like the most, where they get the cut by cut and the dimensions, and it's hard to screw up. Like every measurement and cut is shown, so they're more popular. But for my own satisfaction, it's the ones with the story.
Right. For sure. Just staying on that same YouTube, is there one of your videos, and I was looking it up earlier, I think you got 60 videos, and I know some of them are bushcraft videos, but is there one of your carving videos that you think deserves a little more love, and you're like, why is this not getting the views? Or
again, probably not tutorial based, but every time I make one of those story videos, I think in my mind, oh, this is the one. And I realize now that it's my own crazy brain. I'm just making things that I want to make. So when I'm happy, it doesn't mean that we all know nobody thinks like me anyway. So when I think something's good, it's probably bad. But one of my other favorites was I just did I used to call them carving and coffee videos, and I did a silent one where I carved basically similar to Mike Shipley fisherman with the yellow rain jacket, those type of guys.
Right.
And I did him on the beach on the shore of Lake Erie, and I had the waves lapping the whole time, and I never said a word. And to me, it was one of my favorite quiet videos, and I thought that'd be really relaxing. And it never took off, but that's the one that I always thought would do something. But again, you can't. If you knew what worked, you'd have a pretty popular channel.
You probably wouldn't be talking to us.
No, never. No. I mean, if it wasn't for the $2 that you're offering to do this,
that's a large coffee at Tim Hortons, Doug.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Doug, staying on that same YouTube track, and something that Tom and I probably both know about you, but everybody may not. When you prepare for a video, especially some of the tutorials, you spend a lot of time carving not only just one carving, you do multiples. So if you're doing something like a bear or a gnome or something like that. How many of those do you carve before you actually sit down and do the video to make sure that you know what you're doing before you get started?
Yeah, those tutorials, I'd like to have maybe five that I'm happy with.
So there's work, there's prep work that goes into the videos.
I do a lot of prep work on those types of videos. Yes, I do. So in fact, I'm kind of shying away from them now a little bit too. Like I'd rather do more of a demonstration than a play-by-play tutorial, because if you watch the videos that I have out already, you've already got the basics. So you should be able to follow along. But anyway, those videos, yeah, I like to do 5 because I always figured in my mind, since, you know, I'm still a beginner carver, like compared to, you know, more experienced carvers. And if I'm going to teach something, I better know what I'm talking about. So those are that said, those are beginner friendly carvings. And so then I can do a play-by-play and how, because after you do one, you do the next one's different, and you do the third one different again. And then you just kind of evolve. And then when it comes time to teach, you go, well, this works best. Start here, bang, 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 head, toes, arm, you know, and you got to pretty well, you shouldn't be guessing while you're teaching. So, but
Yeah,
that's just, go ahead.
I was just saying, staying on that topic, is there a certain process that you follow when you're deciding to make the video? Like, is there like, you know, you decided to make your bear. What made you decide that it was a bear? Or like that, the list you have behind you, like, do you start with a list of different things that you want to carve, ideas, and then go through a certain process? Or is it just like, I'm going to do a bear and that's how you get there?
Well, I work by myself all day long. So I have lots of thinking time. And I just make lists of things that I would like to make. And then, like, if I mull them over long enough, everything always changes anyway, and usually for the better, the more thought you put into it. But like the bear, you mentioned the bear video. So I had a few earlier videos that, looking back 2 years later, they're horrible to me. So that bear video is actually a redo of another bear that I had done 2 years ago, which was like skinny and lanky, and you know, so I just wanted to make a better bear.
I think I have that skinny, lanky bear up on my shelf right here.
Yeah, and most of the guys, when they carved that skinny bear, they would always put his ears more top heavy on the head, and it looked more like a dog.
Yeah.
Instead of giving them the little bit more of a side bear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that in that case, I was just trying to improve on a earlier video.
But I have to say, like, I am one of your students, like right from the beginning. I broke my foot probably 4 years ago and was like, you know, stuck in a chair and just started watching YouTube. And somehow you came up in my feed, and I just happened to go buy a knife at the time. And I think it was the hillbilly that I carved first. So I am one of the students that learned, you know, and there's thousands of us out there that, you know, follow along with your carving tutorial. So I'll say thanks for all of them, you know, for you teaching us. So,
well, if it wasn't for Gene, I wouldn't be teaching you. So this is how it goes, and everybody can just keep passing it along.
That's right. And that's kind of like what we were talking about with Nate last weekend. There, you know, you can't find a mean carver out there. And it seems so far that, you know, everyone's willing to share their tips and their techniques and stuff like that. You know, so it's nice to pass stuff like that along. Which actually, you know, on that same sort of topic, there was a comment or a question today from Instagram from Yeti Rage. She wants to know how you feel about seeing your carvings mass produced all over the internet, like on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, do you have feelings towards that?
That's a good question. I could go a couple different veins on that, and I don't want to be the first grumpy carver. But no,
I don't think you're the first.
Yeah, no, I'm tickled when I see carvings out there and people are attempting them. I think that's great. I'm so happy to see that. The flip side is I was showing my wife yesterday, and it doesn't really bother me, but if the only thing is like one of a kind, I modeled this off of this, you know, this is the great horned owl that I modeled this after. And I think, everybody, if you see that owl, or if you see that bear, or you see that whatever, you'll know exactly where it came from, right?
Exactly.
And so, I don't mind, and I don't need the recognition. I just, the guys that are out there saying that they came up with it, and then that line, that kind of irks me a little bit. But no, when I see that work out there, it's great. In fact, even my wife shows me pictures all the times that I don't even see, because the only way you see them if someone puts a hashtag on them or something.
Right.
And then it's pretty cool.
So let me piggyback on the YouTube video topic for a little bit more. There's something to be said about people that produce quality videos, and I think that's one of the reasons why somebody like myself and Tom is attracted to the videos that you create, because you do take the time to think about those, and you put work in it every week to try to make sure that the video is as good a quality as you can make. Do you feel like that is one of the reasons why you've been so successful on YouTube and why you have the following there, is because you do put in the work, you do put in the time? There's a lot of YouTube video carvers out there that you can go out and watch, like that Lunsford guy. Horrible stuff.
Does anybody watch him?
Yeah, nobody watches him.
Well.
But you can find people out there that don't put in the work, that don't take the time to make good quality videos, and they don't get the following that you get. So do you think that's part of the reason you've had the success, or is there something else that has led to the success of you building your YouTube page and your Instagram following?
I think you're partly right, but I don't think that's I believe that the quality video, I mean, you have to be able to see what you're doing. That's for sure. But as far as the quality video, I don't think anybody really gives a rip about high quality video. I think what they appreciate is that we're learning together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on my high horse teaching the pupils. Like, honest to goodness, we're learning together. They've seen me get better as I started. Like I said, I started as a bushcrafter and with a stick in the bush, and they've seen the how I've evolved and showing that they can too. And of course, as you know, it's my good nature, my calm, soothing voice.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. No, I'm kidding. But I think that's probably more relational than high quality.
Yeah. And I think the quality is the fact that you put forethought in making the videos, not necessarily the video quality itself, but the fact that you think through the process and you know what it is you're going to video when you do it.
Well, because I know what they need, because I'm in the same boat as they are.
Right. So you're learning as you teach, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I need to do a whole whack of practice ones just to know, where we're headed on the carving. So
right. Yep.
All right. Well, maybe just to veer away a little bit from the YouTube and stick with the carving journey. What is the one thing that you wish you knew when you first started that you know now that you could pass on to a beginner carver?
Wow.
Because there's always those things that we learn along the way, and you're like, man, like, even like for me, it's always been sharpening, right? Like, I wish like you knew from the beginning, I knew from the beginning to keep that knife sharp, right? Like,
yeah, no, the sharpening came pretty simple to me after always having sharp stuff in the bush. But I don't know if I have advice other than, keep your knife in the wood. Like, I honestly, I wish, because I was in my 40s when I started carving. I wish I had learned or started this, that someone stuck a knife in my hand when I was 15 or something. I wish I had started earlier, and just been able to have a whole life of this hobby, instead of jumping from one thing to the next before something really stuck, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's there's that for sure. But as far as well, here's a little side. I said keep your knife in the wood, but a little side note was I've been taking a little YouTube break, and I've been carving every day, whatever I felt like. Instead of always working towards another beginner video, I got to go off on little tangents and practicing different styles and different techniques. And I think, like I said, just if you can practice a little bit every day, like I've seen even my own carvings improve greatly in the last 5 weeks, just by staying on top of techniques, following through. Last one I did this one a little bit different. Let's do this one a little bit different, and then learning, and don't just don't hold at that beginner level. Always try to take it a little bit farther. Try things that you're going to screw up too. Doesn't matter. It's just a piece of wood.
That's right.
It burns well.
So this may be the pinnacle of the questions, but what is your overall carving goal? So when you think about your carving journey, is there an end point? Do you just keep going? Is there a status you want to get, a skill level you want to reach, or is it more just the journey in the process of learning?
Oh man, you guys got the big questions today.
It's all the hard stuff people want to know.
What's my end goal? My end goal is to have my beard fully white, sitting in a little cabin beside my wood stove, carving Santa Clauses without mistakes. That's all.
Yeah.
Simple life.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Do you really call them mistakes, or do you learn from them and they're more lessons than mistakes?
Well, when you see what goes in the firewood in the wood stove, I call them mistakes.
Well, if you burn them and nobody ever sees it, then nobody knows that there was a mistake.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no end goals. There's no end goals, because you talk to someone who you look to as a accomplished carver, and
Right.
they say, I'm learning every day still. There is no end goal.
Well, and I think that may be the attraction of this craft, is the fact that, you constantly learn. You go through school and at some point you stop and you go to work. With carving, it's constantly, learning something new every day. And I think that may be as much what's desirable as, just finishing a piece, because you're learning new stuff all the time.
Now, that said, like, to me, I don't have to create these great. My end goal is not making masterpieces that people are going to go ooh and ah. My end goal is just being content with goofy little monsters and stuff that make you smile. I don't have this. I always hesitate to call myself an artist, because, as with most guys, can't draw a stick man. But so it's not perfection in great works. It's just the end goal is just staying content with what I'm doing. It doesn't have to be evolved that much even more. I'm just happy with a little piece of wood in my hand and the whittling knife, and so it's not like I aspire to some great art gallery somewhere, and it's just the relaxation, the contentment I get from the hobby. So
Right. Yep.
Sure, fair enough. So just to stay on this a little bit, kind of, what are some of the resources that got you there? This is kind of like a two-part, like, in your journey, what resources did you find the best? You talked about watching Gene, but is it like you read a lot of books about carving, or like, I know personally, like up where I live in Canada, there's not very many carving shows. I don't know if you've been to many out your way, but like, what kind of resources did you use along the way? And then the other part of this sort of question, which may be part of it, is like, who are maybe the top 3 influential people along your journey that have kind of led you in the direction that you've got there?
Any more to add to that, or you good with those 5 questions?
Just a 2-part question.
Wow. The resources. So I am a carving book collector, terrible carving book follower. Carving books that I have here are like my Pinterest of the computer, where I'll flip through and look at pictures. I'm a terrible book learner. I'm not the greatest, even I'll watch some videos, but more like Pinterest has been a real great idea getter, where I can just have little collections of carvings and ideas. And when I say that, it's not that you're copying one thing, but you can take an eye here and an ear there, or like whatever, just little bits and pieces, and figure it out yourself more than actual follow step-by-step stuff. So yeah, so that's not a very good answer, but that's kind of it.
It makes sense. Pinterest is like, some people look at it a lot, and it's great for ideas.
Yeah, but as far as the books, like I said, I really do just flip through and look at pictures. I don't really ever follow along, and
more for reference, finding ideas, and
yeah,
an alley
yeah,
you want to go.
yeah.
And what about some influential people along your way that kind of, you either want to emulate yourself off of, like, your designs, or maybe just someone who gave you inspiration along the way?
Well, of course, Gene was right off the bat. He was my first guy. And then I kind of got into the Harley ref stall. But then I think John Overby kind of took Harley's place. They kind of the same style, but John Overby, like, I really like the characters, the type of characters that he makes in the flat plane style. So I've gone off on his tangent for a while, and I'm all over the place. But another fella that I really enjoy, and he's out in the East Coast, is Kevin Coates.
Right.
He's again, I know the Americans like to do the natives and the cowboys and stuff, but I appreciate the Canadiana and the Kevin Coates with the fishermen and the loggers and those kind of guys. And yeah, so I really admire him. But then, as much as you may hate to admit it, Blake has kind of been in there a little bit too. That his Santa Clauses, I always
don't tell everybody to.
No, don't. I really didn't want to bring this up, but yeah, Blake's Santa Clauses, of course, were really helped me to get those faces and whatnot. And yeah, he was a helper too.
Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome, Blake.
Well, that's great company that you keep with those names there. So,
and along the same lines, we'll keep on this. Everybody knows that with this coronavirus thing, the Canadian border is being closed. So it's been difficult to get supplies and things like that. What's been the biggest difficulty you all, and I'll ask both of you, that you all have had as far as getting carving supplies or being able to get what you need to be able to continue to carve since the borders have been closed and since all this stuff has taken place? What have you done to overcome that? That's both of you.
Well, I haven't, as far as supply wise. I mean, there are some American companies that just won't ship to you, to us in Canada, regardless.
Right.
But I've found a good basswood supplier in the States that have no issues with shipping. Of course, shipping's expensive, but you pay for good wood. And I always tell people, they say, "Oh, wood's so expensive." And I always say, well, when you cut it up, how much is an 1.5 by 1.5 by 4-inch piece of wood? It's still only a few dollars. Like, right. It's cheapest hobby you can have. But chipping away, I actually enjoy chipping away the carving store. I can actually drive there and go hand pick my stuff. So in that sense, I haven't really suffered as far as tools and material.
Yeah, and they've been a real big supporter of ours too, and so we really appreciate them and all of their help, and especially getting you all what you need.
Yeah. So no, that's I don't know. How about you, Tom?
Well, I just know the on the cottonwood bark sort of thing. I know, like, you went down that tangent of cottonwood, and I was speaking to Alec at one point, and he sent me up a few pieces, and I fell in love with cutting cottonwood bark. So I'm like, "Hey, Doug, where do I get cottonwood?" You told me where to go. Of course, couldn't get it. They couldn't get out into the bush. They had guys in their shop with Corona. So then I went down the avenue of trying to get it. Now
That's right. Yeah.
couldn't get stuff shipped over the border. And then I'm asking people out west, because that's where, we can mainly get it, is out west BC sort of way. And of course, everyone's like the same thing. Either they can't get out to the bush, or it's going to cost me a fortune, an arm and a leg to get it shipped here at the moment. So that's kind of, where I was with that.
That's one thing I could touch on too, though, that I did. So over in the last year or so, I've gotten to know Alec Lacasse fairly well, and kind of buddied up with him. And I really am looking forward to getting over and taking some classes in person from him. He has his online school, but he's within an easy driving range for me, except for I can't get over the border. So it's not a big drive. I'm just not allowed to go there. So I really do look forward to when the border's open, that I can get over. And he's one of my guys too that has really helped me out with the faces especially, and really got me down the right path. So I'm looking forward to the end of Corona and the open borders again.
Yeah, and as we talked about on Saturday, 3 of us are planning on maybe meeting up in Wisconsin at the Wisconsin show coming up in September. So if anybody has any influence over those borders opening up, they need to get them open so we can get together.
Yeah.
I had a question, and I was going back down to the YouTube thing. I don't know why I just, went back on that tangent. Maybe I got the same sort of, thinking strategies that you do, Doug, but was there any of your videos that you had made, and I don't know, maybe you were out in the bush doing a carving and coffee or something, you get back and you just found the audio was garbage or something was garbage. So you go through the whole process of carving and making a video, you get home and you just got to put it in the trash bin. Have you ever made a video like that?
Many times.
Oh yeah.
So you guys know this, but everyone, and you talk about the quality of my videos, it's all fluke. I am not a techie guy in any means. And I struggle with, with making videos just like anybody else my age would that wasn't raised with a computer. And you'll notice that there's a few videos on my channel that just became high speed with music. And people hate those videos, but those are videos that I probably either I filmed and never had the mic plugged in fully, or something happened along the way. And I'm like, well, I've thrown out enough. If you waste a whole day, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and throw a soundtrack on it and throw it out there to give them something that week. Right.
And I know from talking to you, over this last year, you, me, and Blake have spent quite a bit of time here on Zoom talking. And I know that just from, having a chat with you, that you've driven 2 hours to make a video, to turn around and come home. Like the boat one, the supply run, it was like an hour away from your house or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. And I was, people don't know that I was on that creek for 8 hours, and I was probably wet up to my chest within the first hour. And it was icy water, and I was just spent the whole day there in that water. So
it's not like you can just turn around, go out in your backyard and film that all over again. So no,
but that said, I prefer that. I've noticed lately, like I love my carving studio that as every kid grows up and moves out, we gain another room, and now I've got this fantastic room here. It's hard for me to get out in the bush and make the videos because I'm so content here, but I need to do that more. Just to give it a change it up. But
yeah, and those who haven't followed your journey on YouTube in the last year, this is like 3, isn't it? Now, room number 3 that you moved, because you were in a room, then you were downstairs, now you're in this room.
Yeah, this is number 3.
Next,
I always said I could live in a trailer if I had a little woodshed out back. I don't care about the rest of the house. This is my happy place. Right?
Well, maybe you should buy a Winnebago and take your show on the road.
There you go.
Yep.
That's a great idea.
I've actually thrown that out there a few times.
No, sorry if it was a spoiler alert.
No.
All right, Doug, I'm going to shift away from carving just for a second. I know this is a wood carving show, but I think it's time for story time with Doug Linker.
Uh-oh.
There's a video out there that I watched where Doug Linker almost drowned in a lake. Tell us the story about the boat capsizing and how that all took place.
Oh, that's a great memory. That was it was a fluke based upon our own stupidity. So me and a coworker buddy of mine, we went out into well, it'd be Lake St. Clair, Mitchell's Bay on our side, and we were only in a little 12-foot tin boat, and of course we went way out in the lake where you couldn't see shore anymore. And as the day progressed, we were catching fish and having a good time, and my brothers and my friends and whatnot, if we're catching fish, you're gonna have a hard time getting us to go back to shore. So we were out there when we shouldn't have been out there, and the waves, as the day went on, just got bigger and bigger, and then they just started coming from different directions, little rogue waves here and there. And like I said, a 12-foot tin boat with two big lugs in it is it's not the place to be in that kind of weather. But anyway, it was funny because I hooked a fish, and my buddy had a fish, so he put the motor in just neutral, and we're just bobbing there trying to land our fish, and the boat kind of turned a little bit and caught a wave over the backside, over the transom, and the one wave came crashing in, and by the time you realize what had just happened, another one had came behind it, and within seconds we were standing there knee deep in the water. The boat was already under the water under our feet, and then the I guess it would be the cushions or whatever just kind of just bobbed the boat and flipped it right upside down and threw us out in the water. And yeah, that's how that happened. But luckily enough, when we just I gave a little holler, I saw a boat in the distance, and I couldn't believe they actually heard us, but I just said hey on the way down, and we were floating there, and luckily they heard us and scooped us out and dragged us back. But that was a Memorial Day. My takeaway from that, though, honestly, was it was so funny. We still joke about it. Is that you never saw two calmer guys out there. It was so strange. We're like, oh, I guess this is happening, and there was no panic of any kind. I guess we were just resigned to whatever happened.
Well, and that's the thing. Had that other boat not been there, it could have been a whole lot different.
Oh, I think, yeah, we'd be, it was cold. It
Yeah.
was cold water. So I'm not going to say we would have died, but we would have had quite the adventure on an upside down boat floating across the States probably.
Right.
But
And fortunately enough for you, you actually captured some of it on a video.
well, that was the thing. I had I had a GoPro on a floaty handle,
right.
and I was filming myself trying to land this fish. And then when that happened, I just dropped it and never thought about it again, scooped everything up. And it wasn't until I was home, like, 8 hours later, that I even knew that the camera had been on. And I was kind of happy to have caught the whole thing and be able to relive the nightmare over and over again.
Yeah, so if people haven't seen that, they can go out on your YouTube channel and watch that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And on that video too, I held that video for a little bit. I wasn't going to release it, and I thought, what, my pride don't mean nothing to me. I'll humble myself and say, be prepared. Don't be stupid. Wear your life jacket. Make it a public service announcement. I don't care.
Definitely a good lesson.
Might help somebody along the way. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So kind of staying away from the carving for a second again, one of the questions that we had again from the poll was, besides carving and camping and obviously fishing, what's another, Doug Linker hobby that that keeps you busy, if there is something that keeps you busy like that?
Those really occupy most of my time. As far as the outdoors, it's hiking, fishing, camping, the canoe trips. When I'm home, I can do my wood carving, but I also have to have firewood for the winter. And, I've got goldfish ponds, and, right now I'm going to be building a little outdoor bird cage in the next couple of weeks, and, feeding the birds. As I get older, I'm turning to grandpa, and I'm just watching the birds and keeping them fed. And it's yeah, that's one of my bigger hobbies, is just watching the birds and the critters in my own yard.
Now, are you talking about the chicken coop that you have in your backyard, or are you talking about wild birds?
No, I'm gonna get some pigeons and doves in the next couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do have chickens and stuff too.
And he has that horse squirrel feeder.
That's right. The Horsehead squirrel feeder. There's
don't
a
forget that.
video. There's a video, Tom. It was you that asked me. Is
That
there
doesn't
any
get
video
enough love.
that never got enough love? That stupid video with the squirrel with for people listening, I bought this plastic horse head, which I could put feed into the tip of the nose, and the squirrels would have to stick their bodies up into this horse head. It's the most ridiculous looking thing ever. And I laughed like a little schoolgirl every time I had that captured on video. And I thought that video would just take off, and everyone's like, man. I just think that's hilarious. Yeah.
That was a good one. I can't wait to see the camping video with you with the horse head on it.
Right?
That'll be next.
I need a Bigfoot mask is what I need. Run around through the bush with a Bigfoot mask on.
And a ghillie suit.
Yes,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So back to YouTube, Doug. If somebody wanted to have the success on YouTube that you've had, do you have any words of encouragement for them? That was a question that also came up in the mailbag from someone. What do they have to do to be able to get the followers and success that you've had so far?
That's a great.
Is it consistency? Is it just, just showing up and doing the videos every week, or is there something?
Well, to be honest, like, even I'm not getting the views that I would have got 2 years ago.
Right.
As more carving. I think I mentioned you guys earlier too, and it's fine by me. It doesn't bother me at all. But the fact that COVID brought out a lot of experienced wood carvers, and since they can't be teaching here and there and over, they turn to the computer, whether that be Zoom lessons or YouTube videos. So there are a lot more in the genre. But I always say you can't make 3 videos and just sit back and wait for them to take. You need to consistently keep your content coming. And as I say that, as I'm on a month-long break, but you do need to be consistent and stay in their faces, really. But don't. One thing I always try not to do, and people, I get this quite often, is that I made a video. Can you give me a shout out? No, you have to earn your place. You can't ride on someone else's success to it's not, if you don't get the views, it's not always that no one wants to watch it. Is that you need to make a better video. And I learned that in the beginning. Like, it took me years to get any traction. So it's very difficult to get traction in the early years, and to stay motivated to make your next video when you're only getting 100 views or whatever here and there. It's very hard because you're doing it for nothing.
Right.
Because I'm really still, like, I'm not getting rich off YouTube by any means. So even with 20 or 30,000 views, it's hard to stay motivated. So yeah.
And staying with that, like you said earlier, you make 5-6 bears or whatever you're carving ahead of time. So you're putting in the time and effort ahead of each video, and you're trying to stay consistent. So even if you shouted out somebody,
right,
like
and
Blake Lunsford, for instance,
right,
you
but
know,
just decide who you want to be, because I could take a little carving and I could sell it probably for more than I'd ever get for the video.
sure.
But the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to start selling my carvings. Something's got to give, and you lose the hobby of it all too. So I don't know. I don't think wood carving needs to be an ego-driven, look at me kind of a thing either. Like, I hope I don't ever portray that. It's just a fun hobby. Keep it fun, or you're just going to stress yourself out for no reason. It's just keep it fun. So whether that means carving and having hundreds of carvings surrounding you, and just be content to look at them, or making the videos, and just enjoying the process and the people that hook up with you along the way. But to have too big of expectations in the beginning is just going to frustrate you. Start small and take little bites, and eventually you'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I have one last question from the mailbag, from the IG mailbag today. That's from Alec Lacoste.
Oh, I can imagine what this would be.
He wants to know if you got your package.
I have no package from him.
Right. You heard
He
it
keeps
here.
talking about a package. There's some mysterious package. I don't even know that he sent a package, because every time I talk to him, he's like, I think I mailed that package. And I'm starting to believe there actually was no package. It's just a way that get him that, so that he can talk to me again. There you go, Alec.
Well, Tom, if you don't have anything else, I'll just say a few words in closing here. Doug, I think you touched on something a few minutes ago that kind of really hit home to me, and maybe one of the reasons why I continue to carve. And as I think about this process, kind of what encourages me to keep on is it's not necessarily the recognition. It's more about learning the process, going through the process, and then also the friends you make along the way. So
Exactly.
had it not been for carving, the three of us wouldn't be on here talking. I've made so many friends, and like you said, there's no mean carvers out there. Everybody's encouraging and willing to help, willing to show and teach and, do all the things that, you kind of hope that other crafts or arts or whatever have the same opportunity to experience. Because I think wood carving is kind of unique in the fact that, the people in this craft are so willing to give. And that's, one of the things that I think, kind of encourages me the most, not only to carve, but to make videos and to share and to talk and that kind of thing. So I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for making the videos. Thank you for, coming on to discussions like these, and, your willingness to help others along the way is just encouraging to everybody. And I want to say thank you for all that and for all that you do. I know you don't get enough thanks for all the work that you do, but everything that you do encourages other carvers, and that's what we're about, is trying to keep this art going and encourage new carvers. And I think that's something that your videos do, is it does encourage new people. So thanks for all that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us tonight with the Carving Podcast. Again, this is episode 2. I want to thank Tom Bate of Daily Wood Carving, my co-host, for coming on each week and continuing this process. We're a part of the International Association of Woodcarvers. We met for about 60 weeks in a row during COVID, where we talked about everything that had to do with wood carving and did demonstrations. All those videos are out on YouTube, so make sure you go out and check those out. I want to thank Dave Levy, not Levy, Dave Levy as in Chevy, of Dave's Whittle Friends, for being our editor of our audio, doing all of the behind the scenes stuff. Dave, we love you. We appreciate it. Thanks for all you do. You don't get enough credit either. So thanks for everything, Dave. Doug, again, thank you for coming on with us tonight. Check out Doug at Doug Linker on YouTube, on Instagram. You can see his videos out there. He's got quite a few, so make sure you check those out. Again, Doug, thanks for coming on tonight. And we'll see you all the next time with the Carving Podcast. Tune in next time, and we'll have another good podcast for you that has to do with wood carving. Thank you.